In this demo, I will show you how to build and deploy a chart using Jenkins. First, we have to deploy Jenkins if you want to use Jenkins. Luckily, there's a chart for Jenkins, so we can deploy it easily. I have here a Jenkins folder, and in this Jenkins folder I have a README. Let's first create a service account that we are going to use later on to deploy our application. Service account is called Jenkins Helm, and I will use it to deploy our application. I'm going to do a Helm install. I'm going to give it the name Jenkins. I'm going to say RBAC install true, and I'm going to run it as user 1000. Instead of user root, I'm just going to run it immediately as a normal user. And the chart is called stable Jenkins. So I'm going to install Jenkins, and this is going to bring up a load balancer. To know the password for the user admin, I can execute this command. This gives me this password. So this is the password I can log in with. And then this is to get the service. I have to wait a couple of minutes and then I should be able to execute it. And then I can log in to Jenkins right here. So this will spin up a Jenkins on our Kubernetes. This Jenkins comes pre-installed with the Kubernetes plugin, and using that plugin, we can launch jobs as pods in Jenkins. So let's go to this URL. This brings us to the login page. User admin, the password. I'm going to use a password that was outputted by one of the commands. Login. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to update the plugins because they can actually be a bit old. So I'm going to go to manage plugins, select all, download now, and then we're going to install the update. Restart Jenkins when installation is complete and no jobs are running. So the first job that we are going to create is the build job. And when we're going to build our package, our Helm package, we're going to push it to our S3 repository. So while this install is running, I'm going to create the necessary permissions for our S3 bucket so that Jenkins can access our S3 bucket where our charts are stored. So I have another script in Helm that's called putbucketpolicy.sh. I'm going to open this. This is a script that is going to add the necessary permissions to S3 so that our node, our Kubernetes node, can retrieve and put new objects in our S3 bucket. Make sure that you change the region if you're in a different region. This is the bucket. You will have to change it as well. Helm dash and then your random string and then node role ARN. You will have to look for the node role ARN of your Kubernetes cluster and of the nodes of your Kubernetes cluster. So let's have a look. I'm going to use AWS IAM list roles, and I'm going to filter on my cluster name Kubernetes New Tech Academy. And this is going to give me the master roles and the role of the normal nodes. And it's this one that I need. So I need the ARN of this nodes Kubernetes New Tech Academy. I'm going to edit this node role ARN here. And also make sure that you use the correct bucket name. This is then going to do AWS S3 API put bucket policy on our bucket, and it's going to allow get object and put object on our bucket for our node role ARN. It's also going to allow list bucket. We'll need to execute this. And if you don't get any output, then everything went fine. So at this point in time, our nodes will be able to read and write from and to our S3 bucket. Let's have another look at Jenkins, admin and our password. And now we can start creating new jobs. I already created the jobs that you need, so you can just do create new job and you can use a pipeline. First one will be demo chart deploy. Type is pipeline. I'm going to press OK. And then you can copy paste a pipeline script. You can either do a pipeline script from SEM, from Git, and then you can put my repository there, but you will have to fork my repository first because you will have to make some changes. So I will just copy paste it, just in case that you didn't fork it. So let me copy paste it from my GitHub repository. So I'm going to go to Helm, Jenkins, Jenkins file build. So let me go over this file. What is going to happen? I'm going to use the Kubernetes plugin. I'm going to use the label Helm bot, and I'm going to use the container Helm. And this is a container that I created that only contains the Helm client with the S3 plugin. TTI enable true and command cat. So this container will run in the background. And then here I can start using this container. What will I do in this container? I will get my Kubernetes cores and I will start executing a shell script. So here's a shell script. I need to define my Helm bucket. So that's why you need to make changes. This line you will have to change. Same with AWS region, you will have to change. The package is demo chart. First, I have to copy my settings from home helm.helm. These are packaged with the container and I just have to copy them to my home directory. I then going to add the repository, helm repo add my chart. So then I can start using this repository. I will cd into the package directory. I will run the same what we did earlier, helm package update, helm package, and helm s3 push. I use force just in case that the package already exists, then it doesn't go and throw an error, and then the package.tar gzip. And I'm going to push this to my charts, which is the Helm repository here. So this looks all pretty good. Let's copy this. So make sure that you change the region and the Helm bucket. And if you forked it, you can use the pipeline script from SEM and you will have to put this path, Helm Jenkins file build, if you want to do it like that. Because this is a Jenkins file. I'm going to save this. Build now. This is going to build. So this will launch a pod on one of my nodes. And then it will connect to S3 to then push the Helm chart. It takes some time to wait for an available executor. It's spinning up the pod, pulling the correct images. So it's running Helm pod and then this name. It's checking out Git, the Git repository. Helm bucket package region. It's updating the Helm chart. It's packaging it and does an Helm S3 push. And that worked. So now we have demo chart 001 on our repository, on our Helm repository. And now we should be able to deploy it. So we're going to create a new item, demo chart deploy pipeline. And then again, we're going to copy paste the script. This script comes again from my Git repository. There's a Jenkins file deploy. What's happening here? It's almost the same. This part is almost the same, except that we used the service account Jenkins Helm, the one that we created, because here we are going to deploy the app, which means that Helm needs permissions to be able to deploy apps on our cluster. It will also connect to our cluster, but we don't really have to configure anything for this because it's already running in a pod. So here again, container template, Helm pod, my Helm S3 package, and this runs the command cat, so it is running in the background, and then here we'll start executing commands on it. We are again going to clone our Git repository. Here you have to change these lines again if you want to run this demo yourself. We're going to copy the .helm again to our home directory. We're going to add the repository. And then we're going to run a command, helm list. We're going to filter on our package. We're going to filter on deployed, and we're going to count the lines. This is to check whether the package is already installed or not. Because if it's not installed, we're going to do Helm install. If it is already installed, we're going to do Helm upgrade. Let's say the first run is not going to be installed. We do Helm install, name package, mycharts/package. It is already installed. We do Helm upgrade package, mycharts package. So this will either install it or upgrade it, and then it will echo deployed. So none of those commands are really new. I just put them in a script so that they can be executed in Jenkins. I'm going to click raw. I'm going to copy paste this again in this pipeline script. I'm going to save. I'm going to do build now. It's going to run. It was never deployed yet, so we did a Helm install. So now our chart is installed. It will take some time before this chart is running, but then once it's running, we can actually make some changes to the chart. You might change a version, you might change the YAML file. And then the typical workflow is that whenever you increment your version, you're going to rerun the demo chart build, which you can link to our Git repository. So every time you update your chart, then the demo chart build will rerun again. This is something that you can do in Jenkins. And then you can choose to redeploy your app. You can upgrade your app to a new version. So let's have a look whether our app is already running. Let's have a look at the service that has been created now. All white. So here we have the demo chart. Here we have the load balancer. Let's curl this one. This one is working. So let's do an upgrade. Back to Jenkins. If you fork the repository, you could make a change in the demo chart build. And then if you configure Jenkins here, you can also pull SCM, for example, to rebuild when you make changes. Let's assume that you make some changes and then you can redeploy your application by doing build now, and the script will now see that you already have an installation running. So it will do an upgrade instead of an install. So again, this Kubernetes plugin will make sure that this runs in a pod. In the pod, it can communicate with Kubernetes. We are using a service account to get us admin privileges to deploy or upgrade on our cluster. And then here, let's have a look. Deployed 1 Helm upgrade demo chart. So now we are upgrading our release based on mycharts demo chart. So now there will be an upgrade that will run to upgrade our chart. So these two scripts you can use with Jenkins to build and deploy your application using Helm on Kubernetes. So now you have a full workflow of how you can write your own app, package it using dependencies, build it in Jenkins, and then deploy to install or upgrade it on your Kubernetes cluster.